My name is Albert Bates. I'm with the Global Eco-Village Network. I've actually been living on the farm, an intentional community in Tennessee, sort of a proto-eco-village. We've been there since 1971, and there's about 250 some people there. And we've been experimenting as an appropriate technology community experiment for the past 3 decades. This is a fantastic time to be alive. And I think that probably 30 years from now, 50 years from now, people will look back and they'll call it the Great Change. Because if you look at all of the things we're doing wrong today, everything from the basic pollution of our environment, the disruption of our food and the poisoning of various kinds in our food chain, the way we're handling our medical and housing and other kinds of needs, all of these things are at crisis proportions, and it's only getting worse every year. And peak oil could not come a moment sooner. I would say that we will be living in an entirely different world, and it won't be like the world before petroleum. It won't be back to horse-drawn trolleys and coal-burning stoves. It will be a solar future based on things that we've learned in the last 100 years or so. We'll make our energy from the sun. We'll have materials that we've developed only recently that are very efficient materials for building houses, for using for various industries. And I think that it will be a distinctly different world, both from the present and from the past. Well, we're already well on the way. We may not recognize it, but for the past 30 years, we've had these various different kinds of movements: alternative energy, alternative housing, alternative medicine, alternative community processes like consensus and conflict mediation and so forth. And they've been viewed in isolation as separate movements, and now they're beginning to converge. And it's a holistic movement that's coming out of this. And eco-villages is a big piece of that because it's starting to put them all together, and you're starting to get an entire lifestyle change that involves the best of what we've learned over the past 30 years. I think some of the most important skills are not technical skills of a mechanical nature. I mean, you could say, well, it's useful to be a carpenter or useful to be a sheep herder or something like that. But in fact, the most useful skills are things like how do people get along, how do they resolve differences, how do they do a stakeholder analysis to see who should be involved in a decision-making process, how should those people be informed, how should your governance be transparent and egalitarian and fair to everyone, and how do you have meetings where people come away happy and energized afterwards instead of just bored and tired. Well, that's a difficult one because I think people come to it through their own understandings. And sometimes people will take a while to come around to a viewpoint that can even encompass the possibility that there's going to be such a massive change. I think the best way is with working with people who have already begun to understand, begin to see it, and then to begin to form coalitions of like-minded people who see the change in process, want to speed it up, want to help it out, want to see how they can work as community. And then it's those communities going forward that form the next stage of human evolution. I think it was a science fiction writer who wrote that the next stage is not from Homo sapiens to Homo gestalt, people working together in community.